The opinions expressed on the Custody Queen Show are for informational purposes only and are not a substitute for personal, professional legal advice. The persons discussed are fictional and not based on actual clients.
Thought it was love, had kids in between. You can count on us, we're the Custody Queens. Yeah, you can count on us, we're the Custody Queens.
Good morning, everyone. I am Kristen Holstrom, and I am here with Samantha McBride, and we are your Custody Queens. I hope everyone is having a wonderful Saturday morning, enjoying your coffee. I know I'm on probably cup 2 or 3 at this point. But today we have part 2 of TC Broders here with Jose and Charlie Gonzalez.
Welcome back.
Thanks for having us.
And this kind of series is to talk about, a new sport that I think is really on the upbringing and the uprising. It's a sport that I'm fascinated with. Sam and I are both soccer players, but this is something new that I've really taken a big liking to. But we're also going to talk about sports and continue the journey with how we as parents can best communicate with coaches and mentors and not bring any drama that may be happening at home through a separation or custody case to a safe place, as we call it, with your kids. That is so important. And if I were to tell people what my top 5 pieces of advice were as an attorney with going through a custody case or divorce, not interfering with your kids in their safe place is definitely one of the top 3.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. Extracurriculars are sacred, people. Don't mess with your kids. Let them have something.
And also getting them off the screen, screen time. None of us had screen time growing up, right?
I shared a cell phone with my dad.
Okay, I had a pager.
17.
My 18th birthday was a senior year in high school, and I was leaving for Florida too. I got a pager, okay?
Yeah.
And my dad would page me with 911, and I think my curfew was like 10:30. My parents were pretty strict. But he would text me, and I had to go to a payphone to call him, and the 911 would just be to get him ice cream, get him cookie dough ice cream. But that's how far technology has evolved from the time that I was in high school. It's crazy. And I am the first one to say throwing an iPad at your kid, it does give you a little bit of me time, but you really, really have to watch it because there's a lot of things, on YouTube and kids YouTube and various websites that you need to just monitor and be cautious of. But 2, get your kids outside.
Yeah, it's just also the social aspect of things. Being on a team, I feel like sometimes can make it a little easier. Believe it or not, I was a little bit of a shy kid.
Well, you were 6 feet tall in first grade.
Yeah, I was tall. I was 6 foot at 13. So there wasn't a lot of boys that liked me. But yeah, no, I was a little shy growing up and stuff, but just being put in a team and placed on a team, you kind of start interacting and maybe hanging out with people that normally wouldn't talk to you outside. So it just becomes this kind of nice, happy place. Like some of the happiest memories I have are playing soccer or even being at a tournament, like in between games,
Hands down.
Hanging out.
Hands down. And it's funny because parents can get so caught up in winning, and I would say with each kid I've gotten a little bit less crazy. 1, you don't have as much time, but B, you start to really believe in trusting the process and seeing the development. But for kids, it's like they're hanging out with people that they can relate with, and they find out what their role is. What is their role on the team? What is expected? And it teaches life skills. What do you guys see as mentors and coaches of what being part of a sport does?
For me as a coach, obviously I have the little ones. That's my first session that I do every morning. Obviously with them, it's just, have fun, forget about school, whatever, But, when I have like the 8-year-olds, the 10, the 12s, or the 14, it's more about how can you use what you're doing here in the outside world? How can you be respectful with your parents, respectful with other people? It's not just about, having fun. Obviously, yeah, we want them to get better. But how can you use these skills too to, like I said, during school or when you're around other people, things like that, and just being a better person. There's been times where, I'm not saying names or anything, but I do get kids that they don't listen, you know, and it's hard for me, and I think I'm really patient, you know, and like, you know.
You are very, very, I love your personalities because it kind of reminds me of me and Sam.
Who's patient out of us?
Well, I might be a little bit more, I don't know.
I'm not patient.
Yeah, I would say I
I'm
might
working
be a
on
little,
it.
I think
need to go
I
back
was
to the
getting more
soccer
of a,
field.
so Jose is kind of more cutthroat, so like kind of like me. And I say that in a very positive way. He expects a lot because he spends so much time with the kids and going through each drill and each process. It's not like he's throwing them out there once and expecting unreasonable results, right? And Charlie, but I think it's such a good balance, you know, and Andy's kind of in between the middle of you two. And Jose is much more like, you know, great effort, you tried, you know, and Jose's like, you tried, but I expect better because we've been doing this for 3 months. And I feel like I'm a little bit more like that, and you're a little bit more understanding, and you know, you explain a lot more, and I'm kind of like, no, you're not paying me to give you advice as a therapist. You're paying me to divide your assets.
Yeah, and like I said, you know, I'm kind of similar, like you said, you know, growing up, like you were kind of like shy, you know, and I was the youngest out of the guys, you know, and like something.
And how many siblings do you have?
I have 4 older brothers and 1 younger sister. And
You have
one
one younger. So is she spoiled? Is she like the princess, or
Yeah.
was she like one of the boys?
no, she was spoiled. Yeah.
She was spoiled.
Oh,
Yeah.
I could imagine.
But like growing up, like I didn't, like he played club, you know, my other brother played club. I never played club. I just grew up playing in the streets, futsal, you know. But I was always like, you know, kind of like shy and timid, like in
A little bit of an introvert.
Yeah, so I mean, I had to learn through soccer, you know, how to be, you know, social, you know, and that's just one thing that I see in the kids where they're like shy. So I have to be patient because I'm like, okay, I understand what's going on, and you know, you never know what the kids are going through, you know. So that's why I think I'm more of the patient one, and then I just get them ready, and then here, Jose,
And
take
Jose
over.
teaches
you
them
know?
the execution. And,
Yeah.
And you guys really do balance each other. So from your perspective, Jose, what do you expect out of the kids, and what's your role to the kids?
I think we're very similar, and yes, I do see that Charlie does have he has a little bit more patience than I do. But at the end of the day, I think we both we try and read the kids as best as we can, or if something doesn't work on how to give them that confidence, we just try. Exactly, we take a different approach. That way, they first off, what we care about the most is them having confidence. Once we get, you know, them to understand and, you know, have fun with it, have that confidence, then we stop a little bit, like pressing them a little bit more on how to do things and how to, you know,
Just being more demanding.
exactly, be more demanding and teach them, you know, a higher level, and, you know, once they're ready,
get
then
complacent if you don't continue to expect more, and that's not just with sports. That's like with kids in general.
and also the thing with us is that we have beginners, we have, you know, we have all levels.
No, they have some very, very high level players.
So we have all levels where we have to kind of understand that this kid is at a different level than this other kid,
but he might get there.
Exactly, and at the same time, their mentality and the way they think, it's different. And how Charlie said, we don't know how their day was or how it went. A lot of kids go to us and finally they're on the field ready to go, and some kids are there and they're like whatever about things, you know. So it's a game for us too.
I think what we kind of, I like that we do is that we kind of sometimes rotate. We don't usually keep the same group, because there's times where like I have spent time with like one group that like they might get complacent, you know, or it might not be as demanding, but then he comes in, we rotate, and he's like, okay, like they have this down, but I notice that like they do get complacent, or then he's being more demanding, you know, and then his group might be like, he's always pushing him, and then when I get him, it's like, okay, they're so intense that like I tell him, like, you know, different things that we see when we rotate that we don't really see because we're only focused on one group for so long.
Yeah,
you
It's
know?
like a different set of eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. And having, I think, when you have kids, you realize you can hear other parents say, oh, the kids develop at different, you know, rates. But I can tell you firsthand, I have 3 completely different kids. Riley's journey has been, she's always been an athlete. She did competitive gymnastics and soccer until April. And April, one of the biggest reasons we quit gymnastics was to be able to do TC Broders. And I could tell that she was spread so thin that we needed to make a decision. And it was a no-brainer for her. It was, no question of what she was going to continue. But her journey has been much slower, right? Brody his IQ of the game at such a young age is very different than most kids his age. But you have to find the right coaches and the right mentors. And just because somebody's a really good player or someone's a really good coach and they've reached success, it's like lawyers. I'm not a one-size-fits-all at all. And you have to find the right fit.
Yeah.
And that is so important.
And it's just nice to have, it goes back to the team mentality because, you can learn in different ways, but you can also learn different things from different people, and that's something that sounds like you guys have and we have at our firm is like we have different attorneys that have different skill sets, different backgrounds, have practiced in different areas of law, and that's what makes us unique. And it sounds like you guys too, that it's more variety and thus more ability to kind of take a little from each person and create who you are.
Yeah. And just like you two, I think that's what makes Sam and I such a great team is we are very similar, but also so different. And I think that's what you guys bring to the table that so many, I tried different various options when trying to find the right fit. I'm always up for trying anything, but I am a vibe person. It's a feeling, it's a gut, like we're in this together because as a parent, you are spending as much time as your kids are. They're traveling and driving and working from the car. And you have to make sure, like Sam said, you got to get a balance, but it has to be someone that really understands the way that your kids operate. And I would never go to an attorney that does a little bit of everything, right? Because they're usually not very good at anything if they're doing 20 different areas of law. If you were going to hire a coach or a trainer for your kids, do you want to go someone that, offers training in every single sport? Probably not.
Yeah, probably not.
At least at the super competitive level.
I don't know. It depends on how good they are.
Yeah. And so where are you guys located?
So we're located in West Covina. That's where we do our trainings. It's off the 10.
Okay.
The 10 in Bronco, yeah.
I am there quite often. Are you guys going to expand anywhere else?
Yeah, we're actually looking to expand. So right now what we do, it's pretty much futsal. At the same time indoor a little bit. It's the same thing, 5-on-5. Only difference, there's walls, same size field. But we're looking to expand to a new location around Covina. I would say Duarte for now.
Okay.
I don't want to completely say that's going to be the new location, but yeah, we're looking to expand 10-15 minutes out from Covina to start on a different surface type of soccer. Yeah.
So for everyone listening, if you are looking to just add another tool to the toolbox, if your child already plays futsal or soccer, or if you have a child that wants to try something new, make sure you reach out to them on Instagram. What is your Instagram again?
It's TC Brothers Academy. It's TCBRODERSACADEMY.
And we'll make sure we post this, so if you're watching on YouTube, you can have all the information right in front of you. But I encourage you to reach out, ask questions. What is the right session? They have everything from beginners all the way up to super, super high level training. And like I said, I am a big fan.
What a cool sport.
It is really, really a cool sport. Okay, now Charlie, tell us about what you have coming up this year and playing professionally.
So I do play for the Mexican mini football national team.
Why do they call it football?
It's mini football, so pretty small-sided, pretty much. I do have a game coming up on the 29th at the Toyota Arena. We're playing against USA.
And that's in Ontario, right?
In Ontario, correct. Yeah.
I will be there. Sam will be there. If you are there, make sure you say hi and tag us.
And after that, I have my season coming up with San Diego Sockers. We start training in November and season starts in December. And yeah, we pretty much travel, there's teams all over the US and there's a few in Mexico as well.
So how many games do you guys play in a season, give or take?
With San Diego, I'd say there's 24 regular season games, and then plus playoffs. If we go all the way to the final, an extra 8-9 games.
So what's your game day routine?
I have to have Chipotle. So
Everyone has a routine.
That is
Yeah.
my brother played ice hockey at Penn State, and he did an interview, and he literally.
I love Chipotle.
I'm his brother, and I think the craziest thing about him is that even the trainer, he shows up to the locker room on where his gear's at.
Yeah.
There's a Coke waiting for him.
Oh,
That is the craziest thing I've seen, and I was like,
except Dr Pepper.
and
Yeah,
everyone's
no,
just
Dr.
looking at him like, Charlie, are you serious? Like, I have to have a Coke before the game.
Yeah, I mean,
that's crazy.
I'd say like first I have to have coffee in the morning. I have coffee before I go to bed. And I don't know how I go to
we're
sleep.
the same way.
Yeah.
We're the same way.
There's times where I have coaching at TC, and then I drive back. I get home at like 12 a.m. I have a coffee, shower, and then I go to sleep. But on game day, coffee in the morning. I'd say, wake up, go get Chipotle, go back home.
What's your order at Chipotle though?
I get a burrito with double steak. I get black beans. I get a little bit of corn, not too much. A little bit of sour cream, a little bit of cheese, and then a Coke.
Love it.
Go home, put some music on to get me going.
Yep.
And then our drive. So I live in Vista, Oceanside area, but our arena is in San Diego, so it's like a 40-minute drive.
Okay.
And
So
then
you drive to Covina?
on Wednesday, Thursday, Fridays, and then we usually play on Fridays or on the weekend.
Okay.
So there's times where like if I play maybe on a Saturday, I have coaching on Friday, so I get home pretty late.
Yeah, because you guys are there. Jose, you're there probably every night, right?
Every day, yeah.
You're there. Yeah. You should just get like a cot in the back.
Yeah, I'm there every day, all day. For the most part.
Okay. All right. And you said that starts in November.
We start training in November, yeah, correct.
Okay. And then where do you play at? What's like the stadium?
So we used to play at the Pechanga Arena by the airport in San Diego, but now they just built a new arena for us in Oceanside.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's called the Front Wave Arena.
Front Wave Arena.
Front Wave Arena, yeah. So it'll be our first game. So there's actually going to be another Mexico-USA game in that new arena, October 27th.
Oh, nice.
On a Sunday, yeah.
So we have one of our Legends coaches, Mimi. I think she is playing in that game as well. So,
Correct. Yeah.
So we're excited. We will be rocking our TC Broders shirts, and we will be super excited to be there to support both of you. It's really cool to be able to take your kids and say, hey, like this is what your coaches are doing. This is where you're headed. This is the potential. So, okay, so we got your career now, and you're kind of like the brains of the operation here, Jose, right?
Yes.
Okay, so tell us, and I stress him out. Like, I remember when we first started, I could fire, text, like, because I just dictate, and so half of them don't even remotely say what I want them to say. So if you've experienced that, you'll start to speak Kristen pretty quick, but I can fire off text messages like nobody's business, and then I disappear for like 6 hours, and you're like, wait, where did you go? But I've seen Jose evolve and actually like really start learning the business side, and it's been fun to watch. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
I did tell him he needs to get like an assistant though.
I do. I need an assistant. Yes, I do. It's a lot. It's a lot to handle.
It's a lot of parents.
Yeah, it's a lot of parents.
How many parents do you think it is?
Well, we have about, I would say, 13, 15 teams, and there's about at least 10 kids on each team. Plus the privates, the group sessions, and the select team. So in total, it just depends. League tournaments, we have one-day tournaments.
Do you ever run into challenges with parents?
Yeah, we usually do. But I think once we recruit someone or there's an issue going on, I think we're very transparent with the parents, and we tell them, hey, what we like to do here in the academy or in TC Bros in general, we don't want anyone to hold back, as in be like, like open up.
Good, bad, and ugly. Let's talk through it.
Let's talk through it. One thing we don't like is when people start just talking behind people's back, or parents, or my kid is better than your kid type of thing. It's better if they just open up to coaches. That way we could go ahead and fix it and tell them why we're doing things and what's going to happen afterwards, you know?
Right.
So I think that's the best way to go about it. And I think we've done a good job. You know, of course, there's always, no one's perfect. There's always going to be someone that disagrees with our decisions and how we coach, or what team they belong to.
Right.
But I think one of the really good things that you guys do is it's a breath of fresh air. It is transparent. So, and there's teams for every skill level, right? And it's kind of like if you get a job at, Custody Queens and you want to build your way up and go up the ladder, there is internal promotion. There is room for growth here. That's the way they operate over there. So just because your kid starts maybe not on the select team, at more of just really developing, there is room for your child to grow up. There's not a lot of politics, I would say, which that can be the toxic part of youth sports. That does exist, and a lot of coaches avoid confrontation, or they don't want to have the difficult talks. But I always say, what does that create? Assumptions. It creates assumptions and misconstrues facts, and then that parent tells that parent, and then that parent posts on Instagram, and it just goes down a rabbit hole. And so I appreciate the direct communication, and I also appreciate that, hey, this is where your child is now, but this is the potential that I see. This is where and Jose has had to calm me down a few times and say,
you've calmed Kristen down?
Yes,
Wow.
I had to.
Because it is hard when it's your kid. It is so different. I could talk about someone else's kid like clients. I always say I can't be super emotional because that's not what you're hiring me to do. You're hiring me to advocate and represent you, but I can't get caught up in all of the feelings because then I can't do my job the way it needs to be done. Right, Sam?
Right.
And that's, if I'm talking about someone else's child, it's not nearly as emotional, or it doesn't hit home. But I understand that when parents are talking about their kids, it is a different feeling, and I have to remind myself when I'm going through very high conflict custody cases that I have to humanize these kids. And I can't just say, oh, that girl, what was her name again? Like, I want to know you. I want to know your case. I want to know when your kid's birthday is. I want to know. And that's what they do. And, Jose said something to me one time. He goes, I'm not worried about Riley. I'm not worried about it. She's going to be fine. And I think it was kind of like that moment that I was like, trust the process, Kristen. Quit trying to convince yourself to trust the process, but actually start manifesting it and believing it.
No, I love that.
And I think that's something that we kind of tell the parents too. Like, everyone, like you guys mentioned earlier, everyone develops at a different rate. Like we've seen, growing up, we've seen players that were the best at when they were 8 years old, they were the best. And then when they reach 15, it's like, they thought they were the best. They stopped working hard. They just,
hormones, puberty, like all of
they just thought their talent was going to take them far. And that's not the case,
right.
And we try to be, like you said, transparent with the parents. Like, hey, maybe your kid's on this team for now, but we see it, 2-3 years, he's going to be a top player, but you just, like you said, you got to trust the process. And, we do everything with the purpose, not just all right, he's the best, put him up here because they're the best player.
Because you want him on your team or her on your team.
Yeah.
So many places operate like that, and that's just life in general. But you guys don't, and I do appreciate that.
Yeah, and I mean, with what Kristen and I do in family law, we have to say this to our clients all the time, is trust the process, because it can be really confusing and
dark.
And it would take me probably 5 hours to explain to you everything that I need to do, and I will explain it as it's needed, but you'll distract your attorney by slowing him down too much. You have to trust the process, trust that there's going to be some hard decisions, and that at the end you're going to come out of it. Sometimes when people challenge you too much, and we always want those questions, but it distracts from it. It takes you away from being able to do your job, which is really be an advocate for you guys to really help these children develop their skills and the love for the sport.
Yeah, and I think we're a perfect example of it, actually. Me and my brothers, we grew up playing together every day. We're so competitive, and so it's Charlie, myself, and then Christian. Christian's a year older than me. Growing up, he was a star. He was the go. Like Christian was like, he was. If we were on the field, there's no Charlie Jose. It was Christian. Like he was a star. Then as we got older, it was left with me and Charlie in the field that I was a star. Yeah, but don't get me wrong. I think it was my athleticism. Like I was super fast, skillful, and a little bit of a show off. Charlie was not the fastest, and he was small. But now, a few years later, I in the streets, I forgot where I was. A random guy comes up to me. He's like, "Hey, you won Cortil, you and Charlie." It's like, "Yeah, how do you know?" Whatever. Yeah, everyone knows about you guys. Back in high school, I think he tells me something super funny. He's like, "Hey, everyone thought you were gonna be the star, but now Charlie's a star."
Now Charlie's eating Chipotle before a game.
Yes, and my point here is I've given this example to parents like, hey, like I know your kid is not where you think he should be, but I mean, look at us. Like me and Charlie, like I'm louder, right? Like I'm the loud coach. Like Charlie gets paid 5 times more than what I get paid, and I accept who I am and what my worth,
what your role is.
Yeah, so and trust me, we're not gonna leave your kid behind. Like we pay attention to every kid from the beginner to the advanced the same way, So I think how you guys are saying like trust the process has a lot to do with not only inside the field but outside the field as well.
Yeah, and you really have to actually internally believe it, because we can all say trust the bleep process, and it's hard, but everything with life, it's a journey. It is not something that's going to happen overnight. If you're training for a marathon, it takes months to get there, and that is the process of the next transition of your life, whether it's divorce, whether it's this very high conflict custody case. Just remember, the rain will stop at some point and new days are coming, and just self-reflect and actually put your own self in check. I have to do that constantly, and when I'm not able to do it for myself, I have Sam to do it for me. But we are almost out of time, and so I just wanted to make sure that we get their contact information. If you need further information about TC Broders or the process, or how you get in touch with them, how do you set up a private group sessions, you can reach out to them directly, or you can reach out to Sam and I, and we'll make sure that we get you in contact. But this applies to so much more than futsal and just going through a divorce. It applies to life. Trust the process.
Love it. Thank you guys so much for being here again.
Thanks for having us.
No,
All right, and what is your Instagram, your personal Instagram, Charlie? How do they find you?
My personal Instagram is Charlie, CHARLIE _FLIKINSIN. Charlie Flickinson.
Charlie Flickinson.
Which makes no sense. I made that a long time ago when Instagram was first out, and I never changed it.
All right, and Jose, how do they find you?
Mine's a little funny too. Mine's Bebe 11SS. So it's BEBE11SS.
And then we have TC Broders Futsal and TC Broders Academy. And I encourage you to reach out, make the call. If your child isn't doing anything, make the call. See if this is the right fit. If your child is looking to get to the next level, then you really need to make the call.
All right, thanks for hanging out with us this Saturday and every Saturday at 8:30 on Go Country 105. And remember,
let love rule.